A new request from the governor's office has arrived at all Florida colleges and universities.
Governor Desantis wants to know what medical services are being provided to transgender students and at what cost. TV 20's Ilali Solate tells us what some students are predicting may come from the survey.
The governor's office is demanding all Florida state universities, including UF, to provide information about transgender students who have had or requested medical assistance. The Gender Dysphoria Services survey was sent from the governor's budget office director, Chris Spencer, to Florida University Board of Trustees last week. The survey asks what universities are spending on transgender services, hormone prescriptions, and about those who underwent medical procedures.
It's still not clear what this survey may signal, but many made clear it may be a way to scale back on medical services for trans individuals.
I think this really is an action to cut funding for queer people and for trans people, because they're saying, oh, government resources are being spent on people to seek gender affirming care. Yeah, absolutely. There's resources on campus for people seeking mental health services.
I asked the governor's office the purpose of the survey, and they sent a statement saying, we must ensure school systems are responsive to parents and to students, not partisan interest groups. The survey must be submitted by February 10th. In Gainesville, Lali Solate, TV 20 News.